There are some whores in this house.
This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerized. I know words. Mike Pounds.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation.
But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated.
One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
I had the best words.
God bless the United States.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Amazing.
The nation. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Oh, it's Tuesday. We got a good one. It's fun times. We got a lot of drama here we're gonna talk about. We got Cold Feet Crowder. Debate of the century. You're gonna love that. That's fun. We got a little bit of an older story from last week, but we're gonna talk about it anyway. Because I didn't get enough time to dunk on Ben Shapiro. I will rectify that issue. That massive oversight. Apparently, Ben Shapiro has a great idea about fighting crime. He wants to ban it. Brilliant. We got Trump sending people to Gitmo. We got the DOJ. Trump wanting to get the DOJ involved to go after comedians. Nina Turner, and of course, people not going back to work. People are abandoning retail jobs, service jobs, and it is changing the conversation. I love it. I'm going to talk about that. That's an excellent story. Again, because you know me, blue-collar worker through and through. That's my past. That's my history. Low-wage worker. And so you're going to love it. You're going to love it. But first, please like and share. Very, very important you do so. Helps us out. And besides, nobody's going to want to miss the first story where we talk about Steven Crowder. So like and share across all the different platforms. That said, let's do it. Let's dive in. You know, the irony, of course, is that Steven Crowder, apparently, since I have way less than 1 million subscribers, I'm on 162,000, almost 163,000, he would never debate me. So that sucks. But he would debate me if I were a college student on campus. So, fun. Anyway, yeah. Let's dive in. Steven Crowder, a little-known YouTuber, is the host of Louder with Crowder, and apparently he loves to ambush people. So now he loves to ambush people when it comes to debates. And normally these people tend to be unprepared for said debates. Now, he did not, however, enjoy being the target of a recent ambush set up by H3H3 Productions another massive YouTuber, and Sam Cedar. Take a look.
Oh no, Sam Cedar! What a fucking nightmare!
Stephen.
I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought Ethan was a stand-up guy. This is where we are.
well-
Yeah, I told Dave. Remember I told you? I said this is. I guarantee you, he's going to do anything he can to avoid the debate.
Well, I just think he believes that he should debate you.
No, he doesn't. He just takes advantage of women with mental health issues.
Steven,
Ethan
you know
Klein
what's
doesn't stand up and do his own
Funny, I gotta
fighting.
say,
Right.
I
It's just
told
hilarious.
my
Let's bring on the
producers
FM.
that you would do anything to avoid talking to me. I think the point that you made
Yes,
at the
that's right.
beginning of
Joe
this
Rogan.
was-
Yeah, Joe Rogan and Ben
Rubin
and Dave
Ben
Rubin and
Shapiro.
Jordan Peterson and Noam Chomsky and Sam Harris. Everyone's been avoiding.
And not just attempting
Sam
to get
Cedar.
your audience by jumping in.
Well, I debated with Charlie Kirk. Stephen, I mean, it's
Okay.
about issues. Let's
It's about
talk about
issues,
those
yeah.
issues.
That's
I
what
think
you're
you have
doing
some
here.
valid
Yeah.
points.
You're
that
so
I think we
clever.
should
I had no
discuss.
idea that you were taking your show off early last time, coming in today with your pig pen peanuts
I
eyes.
wish everything.
You take those off with the velveteen
really are.
buttons.
We must have been
Black
very
eyes,
worried about
aren't
this,
they? Like
Stephen. I don't know why.
No
it would
one's
be
worried
Oh, come
about
on,
it.
so
Sam. I
concerned.
didn't want to
Well,
do
let's have the
Sam,
debate.
come
If
on.
no
I'll
one's
tell you
worried,
what. I
let's
have a
do
general. I have a general.
This is a
rule.
great
I
opportunity.
don't start a debate
to-
based with people on a lie. And how
Or
about you get to a,
sabotaging?
how about you get to
Steven,
a
show
30th
yourself,
of the
you
audience
coward.
share?
Steven, show yourself.
30th
Don't show
of the
your
audience.
co-host.
Ethan, you should show
Steven,
yourself.
excuse-
Ethan, how can you respect
afraid
yourself
to
as a
be
man,
wrong?
brother?
Steven,
so strongly
Steven, you are
that you're
such
not
a
willing
coward.
to
Stop
debate.
showing your little
I
leprechaun
thought you would
co-host who
welcome-
comes
Right,
out
right.
dressed
Hey,
like
Ethan,
your
Ethan, come on.
sidekick.
You could tell the moment where Steven Crowder crapped his pants. Oh no, it's Sam Cedar. Yes. Agree with Sam on issues or not. This was fantastic. Considering, again, the irony, seeing how Crowder is one of the one of the big debate bros on the right, which is now ironically what many in the right are now calling Sam Cedar. Oh, it's that Sam Cedar, that debate bro, coming in and saying, "Oh my God, well, debate me." That's not Sam Cedar style. He will debate for sure, but he's not going around being obnoxious, because I have seen debate bros before, had them in my chat before. I've seen this all over the internet. Sam Cedar is not a debate bro. But again, apparently Steven Crowder only debates people with over 1 million subscriptions, or if you happen to be an undergrad and go to his Change My Mind booth. Yeah. It's almost as if he doesn't actually care about issues, but only cares about owning the libs. And again, Sam Cedar's a lib. So you would think that, well, if he has such command of the issues, Steven Crowder does, if he's so right, then he would jump at the chance to go and debate someone like Sam. But apparently never heard of him. Nope, never heard of Sam. Really? Oh, well, that's interesting, because I've got video later, of course, where, he actually has, and his audience has also heard of Sam Cedar. Interesting. But again, I'm to the left of Sam on a lot of issues, but I'm going to argue that Sam Cedar is a great gateway to the left. He's incredibly smart. He's very informative. And the fact that he is smart and actually knows what he's talking about, again, even when I don't agree with on some of the issues, you can't argue that he doesn't actually know what he's talking about. That means for Steven Crowder, that's why he doesn't want to get involved. That's why he doesn't want to debate him. Because Steven Crowder doesn't know shit. He doesn't know anything. He knows how to talk over people, as you saw. He knows how to gish gallop or bury people in bullshit arguments. He does not know the issues. He also knows how to be incredibly racist, incredibly offensive, anti-Semitic, so much so that he's been demonetized by YouTube itself. And then he hides it all by saying, "Oh, I'm a comedian. I'm just making the jokes, the haha and the funnies." Another example, by the way, and I don't know if a lot of you noticed this, but in the video, he tells Sam to take his glasses off. Well, now that's a really weird thing. That's a really weird thing that he's talking about. Where does that go back to? Well, again, let me show you the video on that where he asked him to take his glasses off so you can see if he has button eyes or soul. Take a look.
Hey, Sam, one thing before I go. One thing before I
If
go.
it's
Can you
about
take off your
issues,
glasses?
Stephen,
Hold on.
One thing before I go.
I
Can you
just
take
wanna
off your
see-
glasses?
we just wanna see if
I
there's
just want to
buttons.
see if you take them off. If you have the Velveteen Rabbit buttons. That's the only thing I'm curious about. It's the only interesting part about it.
Steven,
Or if there's a soul.
Let's
Just
debate.
take off the glasses.
Let's debate, Steven.
Don't hide behind the glasses.
Don't be a
Sam.
coward.
Don't say let's debate, Ethan. You've lost
Coward.
All right.
Debate
This
the
is sad.
issues. What
This
does
is
it matter who
what
you
should be.
debate,
Shut up.
coward?
All right, good. You guys are good. Thank you.
Coward.
Won't even take off the glasses.
I was right.
All right, yeah,
We
you
knew
can
Bye-bye.
run
relax.
away.
This
You
is-
run away twice. Cold feet again.
And that's when he hard outed. But before that, he made an obvious anti-Semitic trope. Because again, the Jewish people don't have a soul. So there's nothing behind those eyes. Again, when you look into dig into the history of that, that is deeply problematic. Deeply problematic. But again, that's Steven Crowder. That's who he is. That's what he does on his show. Again, you want to call out other channels like H3 for like, oh, pop culture, BS, drama stuff. Well, that's kind of what you do, Steven. That's why you have like what 6-7 million subscribers. So you don't actually focus on hard issues, and you go around owning college kids. That's it. That's what you do. And by the way, Crowder is nothing more than a paper tiger. And that's the whole thing. Talks a big game about liberal tears, about wrecking people. But you see, of course, what he's really all about and why he is afraid to debate people who are actually knowledgeable about issues. And no shade thrown towards H3 here. He knows, yeah, I don't have like super command of the issues, like not to quite of a deep level as someone like Sam. And so, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to defer to the person who is a lot more politically savvy and talk about this and have him talk about this. And so that's what it's about. Now, again, the best part was the admission that he was watching, that Crowder was watching Sam's channel to see when he was online, to make sure that Sam was doing his show when he was doing the debate with H3, so that Sam wouldn't pop up. Watch.
How did you
Professors
know
on the-
I ended
This is
my
what-
show
okay, he's not
early
gonna talk.
last week, Stephen? If your audience
Because
doesn't
you're
even know
an
me,
idiot,
how
and
did you
half of
know
your
that?
staff
Do
doesn't
you
like
watch my
you.
show?
Because I'm a diehard fan.
Yes, it's because he's a diehard
Well,
fan.
if you're a
I've heard
diehard
of you,
fan,
but I just
why-
met you.
why not
Congratulations,
have me
Sam Cedars fan.
and Stephen
I'm just
have a
a huge
conversation?
fan.
I will
like-
talk
right now,
about
every
the
time I
issues
try and
that
talk,
you
you're
want to
interrupting,
talk
Sam.
about, Stephen.
Right now,
I can't believe he admit to following.
He admitted that he followed the show last week.
We got him.
Admitted that he watched the show last
We
week.
got
went
him.
early.
Dude, we played him so hard because he literally was following. He saw that you went live, dude. We fucking got him.
Oh my God, we fucking nailed him.
Holy shit.
The meltdown, by the way, afterwards, glorious. He is already spinning it on his channel, and he's got people, he's got people like quartering, that are defending him. Tim Pool's out there raging about this, and saying that, they're old drama farmers. Oh, they're so hurt by this. It's so sad. It's so sad. But look, this was a brilliant trap. There's absolutely no way that Crowder can really spin this to make him look good, unless you ignore the reality. Because again, he has shown on more than one occasion that he's definitely willing to debate people that are smaller than him, channel-wise, subscriber-wise, or just, random people on the street, as long as he believes that he has an advantage, that he can own them. Because again, that's what it's about. It's not talking about issues, not in good faith. It's just owning the libs for clicks and views. And that's why, of course, he is a bad faith actor and a complete and utter coward. And I'm not even the greatest debater, by the way. I of course, I think I'm terrible at pretty much everything that I do. And so maybe I'm actually a really good debater and I just don't know it. I don't know. Maybe Crowder should invite me on his show. We'll see what happens. All right. Moving on, let's go to another member of the intellectual dark web, the intellectual right. Fun times. So last week, New York City held its Democratic mayoral primary debate. And during that, some candidates were asked what they would ban if they were elected. Now, for me, of course, I didn't like a lot of their responses, to be honest. It ranged from things like, oh, let's ban sugary drinks. I don't actually think that's a good idea. I think you should, of course, make public policy so that healthier drinks are available. Or they're cheap, but still allow people to make their own choices. Banning ATVs, which is what Andrew Yang said. It's kind of ridiculous. To banning corn syrup. I would say maybe we shouldn't subsidize corn to the point of where corn syrup is basically in everything because it is having a problem with obesity. We should also do things like public health care, like a Medicare for all system. But basically, for me, I think instead of talking about banning things, we subsidize things that are good. Banning, subsidizing farmers markets instead, or taking away, again, subsidies to big agriculture like corn, smart things, good things that might actually help. But apparently, even I'm missing the point. I'm missing the mark because what everyone, including myself, seemed to have missed came from intellectual heavyweight Ben Shapiro, who tweeted this. Notably, nobody said crime. Yes. What a great idea. Banning crime. Let's do that. Because right now there's just nothing out there that would prevent people from doing crimes. Yeah. See, this is why Ben Shapiro gets paid the big bucks. You see, he's got big ideas, very, very high level ideas. I'm wondering if maybe Dave Rubin helped him out. Come up with this, getting their big brains together and then, thinking of high level ideas. And that would put their brain in recovery modes. Let's ban crime. Hey, you know what? If only there were a force in New York that has been given billions upon billions of dollars to enforce things that are considered to be crimes. Oh, wait. We're to have it. It's called the NYPD. Ironically, the NYPD spends a lot of its time not really going after crime, but profiling Muslims, harassing black people for, living. But of course, Ben Shapiro had no problem with any of those things. Not at all. As you can see, he got pretty well ratioed to oblivion. 7K to 4.3K. Jesus Christ. It's still up. It's still up. Amazing. Here, I'm going to read off some of the better responses here, coming from a little-known YouTuber, and, casual friend of mine, Varsh. Here's what he said. Holy shit, dude, why hasn't anyone banned crime yet? Another person says, if I was mayor of New York, I would simply make crime illegal. Yes! Oh my God. They're onto something. Owen Higgins says, if you ban crime, only criminals will commit crime. Is that the world you want? Cody Johnson says, for once I agree with you, Ben. We need a candidate brave enough to say that crime should be illegal. Yes. Jeff Tiedrick, the Trump reply guy, says, yo, Ben Shapiro, bro. For a guy who claims to hate socialism, you sure do love being publicly owned.
Wet ass P word.
And finally, another person says, I came here because I saw a screenshot of the tweet and I thought that it was fake. But holy shit, you actually tweeted this. Yep. As mayor, I will ban bad things and I will support good things. What a genius idea. Genius. Again, Ben Shapiro, the big ideas. Intellectual dark web, everybody. God damn. All right. Moving on. go to Gitmo. Or not. By the way, I love Bosch. So, good guy. Just messing with him. He trolled me too, you know. Okay, anyway. Let's see. Former President Donald Trump considered sending U.S. citizens infected with the coronavirus to Gitmo. Yes, that's the place where we hold suspected terrorists. Yeah, it's according to a new book, where and this has been reported by the Washington Post, by the way. Trump had apparently asked staff in the Situation Room back in February of 2020, quote, "Don't we have an island that we own? What about Guantanamo?" Yeah, you know, the place at the detention camp in Tuna, or I'm sorry, Tuna? Wow. What about the detention camp in Cuba? That's what he's asking. What about why don't we just send people to the detention camp that houses alleged terrorists? And by the way, innocent people do get tortured there. Okay, so yeah, let's just send all those people, thousands of people at the time, to prison essentially because of my poll numbers, and that's essentially what it is. Okay, well, first, how would you find the people that are infected with coronavirus? Well, you would have to test them, right? Well, the testing for you is part of the problem, as you're going to point out. Not only that, but if you found them and you tested them, well, then how would you... I mean, you would not be able to avoid taking away people's rights by herding them into essentially what would be a concentration camp. What is this? What is this? This is so unbelievably beyond the pale of stupid that if anyone else had been reported to say this, I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed it. Like, you're kidding me, right? But then if Trump says it, well, I mean, you know, he's that dumb. He is that stupid that I absolutely 100% believe it. Now, Trump later said, quote, "We import goods. We are not going to import a virus." Well, we'll see how that turned out. Not very well. In fact, considering how Donald Trump himself got the virus. Imagine, by the way, had we actually had a functional, like, competent president, we would have shut down, maybe a better shutdown, and perhaps would have adopted masks a lot sooner. But no, now more than 600,000 Americans are dead as a result. Okay? Trump's aides, by the way, were stunned by the question about Guantanamo Bay and shut down the idea. Not the first time, the second time that it was raised. It gets worse, though. Trump, in response to this, exploded over testing. He said, testing is killing me. I'm going to lose the election because of testing. What idiot had the federal government do testing anyway? Well, you're going to find out what idiot that was. 5 days earlier, Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, took charge of the U.S.'s testing strategy. So I can tell you what idiot it was. It was Jared Kushner. And by the way, during that conversation where he asked, that's exactly what Alex Azar said. Quote, do you mean Jared? Your son-in-law? Oops. Sad. That is an incredible own. Again, but it would be hilarious if it weren't such a complete and utter bungle that cost people lives, homes, jobs, and all of that. It was an absolute disaster. Made worse by an idiot in charge. Trump also wanted to fire Robert Kadlec, the then emergency preparedness chief at the Department of Health and Human Services, and a senior Department of State official for their roles in allowing 14 U.S. citizens infected with coronavirus to board a cruise ship to return to the U.S. Well, again, there is a way that you could have handled that. You could have quarantined them to make sure that they didn't infect anyone else. There were measures that you could take. Now, Trump, again, was unsuccessful in firing Mr. Kadlec, as he was with other officials. And then tensions between Trump and bureaucrats also caused other issues, according to the writers of this book. Instead of firing, for example, Anthony Fauci, which he wanted to do, the then director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Trump's team neglected his and other health officials' recommendations, favoring those of economic experts, as well as the Jared Kushner, the guy who bungled the testing, and pretty much everything else. The guy who told people in New York, hey, if they die, it's not my problem. The entire strategy for getting PPE masks, letting the states fight over it. Jesus. Not only that, but Fauci and Trump had sparred over Trump's recommendation of hydroxychloroquine, an anti-malaria drug, which hasn't been proven to be effective against coronavirus. Another medically questionable remarks regarding the coronavirus. One of them, of course, being how you should inject disinfectant to fight coronavirus or shine a lamp up your ass. Yeah, that's essentially what it is. What he talked about doing. Ridiculous. What a moron. Overall, the work environment soured as the pandemic raged, and the writers described this as a toxic environment in which no matter where you turned, someone was ready to rip your head off or threatening to fire you. It's true. It's true. So, what do you expect? He was an absolute dismal failure for president, and we all ended up paying for it. And ironically, this is what the Trump people want. This is what they want to bring back. What an absolute, utter disaster. But for them, they think, no, we think it's great. 4 more years. Bring it back. 2024. Come on. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. Going to come back. More stories here. We got Trump versus the versus Saturday Night Live. I cannot talk today. And then we're going to talk about underpaid workers that are finally getting their comeuppance. Fun times. We'll be back.
He said,
There's some whores in this house. Wet ass keyword.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Run the nation right here, Walled Nation. It's one of those days where I am in an absolute brain fog. So fun times. I love it. Where I cannot concentrate worth of crap. Anyway, nonetheless, we're gonna do more of the show. Thank you. I appreciate Monty Darno, I think, for complimenting the shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts. So I love it. I'm like, I don't know, look, all right. I'm super paranoid, first off, about this, okay? Because, like, I'm super paranoid of getting stains on it. So, like, I'm making sure, like, I can't eat. I can't, like, drink anything that's, like, you know, coffee or whatever. I'm afraid I'm going to spill it on my shirt and then ruin this. This is why I hate white shirts. But at the same time, it was too good of a shirt not to get. I had to. So I just need to be really, really careful so that I don't mess it up. So anyway, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. Also, I want to thank Christina for giving out a tier 1 sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Christina. And thank you for the follow, Earth Tubs. So, hey, all right. Awesome. We're at 955 Twitch followers, by the way. So, yeah. Gabby Mathis, thank you, as I said. You can always drink water. I do drink water, but I wanted to drink some coffee too. So, do I need a bit? Maybe I do. Maybe I do. But I am too lazy to get that. Anyway, so what's funny is, by the way, I want to show you, like, this is not scheduled, but this is related to the Crowder stuff. I want to show you a video here. This is Tim Pool. This is Tim Pool having a complete, like, meltdown over what happened with Steven Crowder. Let me find that.
he said that he couldn't do it because he hosts his own show. He did mention COVID, to be fair. But then he turns it into this tweet where he's coming after me, implying we were unsafe when we followed every COVID guideline. We have hand sanitizer everywhere, and we were allowed to do the show as per normal guidelines. The room is extremely well ventilated. You can probably hear the fans. But Sam thought it would be good to lie, to make things up, because he never wanted to come here in the first place. And even after he knew it was in studio and the 13th is open and we will pay for everything and he agreed to do it, it was all just a big con. Sam Cedar is a lying coward. And that's why people like Steven Crowder should not debate him. And that's why Steven was right for cutting him off and saying no. And Ethan Klein is damaging everything, making it all worse. because his interest is personal gain for his pop culture crap. He doesn't know what he's talking about, so he would rather watch people suffer if it gives him a few extra bucks. That's Ethan Klein. He said,
"Oh, that's a meltdown." The beanie underneath the beanie, there's like he's melting. His brain is just on fire or something. Wow. Really? So, look, I understand. And look, I got to give Vosh credit, right? So Vosh was like, all right, I'll go to debate you, because Tim Pool set some very rigid debate standards. He was saying during the time of COVID-19, I will not do video. I will not do a debate over video. You have to be in my studio. So you've got to be sitting right next to me if you want to come to my show, if you want to debate me. Really? Look, in a time where you have, like I said, COVID-19, where you had travel restrictions, he wanted to bring people in the studio. And Sam Cedar's like, I'd love to go, but I can't do it. This is not going to happen. I will do it later. I'll do it when this, later on when COVID kind of clears up. I'll go and debate. But this is his response. Coward. Really, Tim? Really? Come on. But again, Vosh did it. And Vosh summarily handed him his ass. And that's what it is. So, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that little clip there. I thought that was pretty relevant. Also, by the way, I also want to show you this. See. That's what the Daily Wire is running with right now. Opinion: Steven Crowder showed why we shouldn't engage with debate me bros. Y'all, he is a debate me bro. That's the whole point of Steven Crowder. An entire segment on debate me bro. Oh. Full damage control meltdown. He's never going to live this one down. But he's got all of his right-wing buddies doing damage control. If this happened on the left, people on the left would also be laughing at the person who refused to debate. Come on. All right. Anyway, let's move on. We got more stories. Speaking of thin skins, he's a debate me bro. Changed my mind. I did the meme. All right. We all know that former President Donald Trump is very thin-skinned baby. Sad. But a recent report reveals the lengths that he tried to go to avoid people hurting his little feelings. It turns out he wanted to use the Justice Department, the Department of Justice, and other parts of the government to go after Saturday Night Live because they made fun of him. Now, look, I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in years. I actually think it's pretty cringe at this point. I mean, I used to watch it like a long time ago. It's not really all that funny, and it's kind of cringe. But at the same time, if I were president, I wouldn't want to try to use the government to shut them down. That's very, very unfree speech, isn't it? Now, the Daily Beast reports that there was a time in March of 2019 when Trump was watching an SNL rerun, which he said, by the way, Saturday Night Live, so unfunny. I never watched them. Well, no, apparently you do. You do watch them. Just like you watched Morning Joe, just like you read the New York Times, the Washington Post. Come on, man. Of course he watches and listens to those things. He can't stop from watching cable news. And it's all about if people give him attention. And so now he apparently had gotten so mad about watching this that he had consulted administration officials to find out what they could do to take action against comedians. Quote, according to two people familiar with the matter, the Beast reports, Trump had asked advisors and lawyers in early 2019 about what the Federal Communications Commission, the court system, and more confusingly, to some Trump lieutenants, the Department of Justice could do to probe or mitigate Saturday Night Live, Jimmy Kimmel, and other late-night comedians. Wow. Sad. And unconstitutional, by the way. It violates free speech. Comedy and satire is 100% protected speech. But again, Donald Trump wanted to tighten libel laws, and as I said, wanted to go after Saturday Night Live. And what's funny, this is who the right wing considers to be a strong alpha male. More like a beta. In a world of sheep, be the wolf. Well, all right. In reality, of course, it's the funny man make me feel bad. He say mean things about me. Me sad. Department of Justice, go after funny man. The fact, though, that he tried to get the government to try to shut people up, it's kind of insane. Thankfully, again, as I mentioned, satire is protected speech, and shows like SNL are not bound to quote-unquote equal time rules. Now, to this point, one of the Beast's sources said Trump's efforts were more annoying than alarming. To be honest with you, another source said that Trump was told the Justice Department just doesn't handle matters like this, which I'm sure, of course, he wasn't happy about. In fact, the report notes, Trump seemed disappointed to hear that there was no actual legal recourse in anything the FCC or DOJ could do to punish the late-night anti-Trump comedy. Can something else be done about it? Trump replied, according to the source, to which they responded with some variation of the phrase, I'll look into it. No, yeah, right away, sir. Yes, sir, right away. We will immediately look into this. This is top priority. This person says to this day, they have not, in fact, looked into it. You know, this isn't the first story where Donald Trump asked people to do things that they either had no power. Look at Mike Pence. I mean, seriously.
Mike Pounds.
He's like, oh, Mike Pence is going to save us. He's going to be able to overturn the election with all the fraud by not certifying. And then I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back into power, everybody. It's going to happen. It's real soon. Real soon. He had no constitutional ability to do that. And of course, in other circumstances, they asked him, he would ask people to do things that were illegal. And a lot of them were just, at some point, were like, oh yeah, no, we're going to work on it. We're going to work on it. Yeah, we'll do that. Right away, sir. I'll get right on it. To which, of course, they didn't, because they only said those things to make him shut up. But again, he never cared about the law, and he's stupid. And so, of course, when somebody just says, and this is what they were counting on, by the way, when they said that he would just forget about it. Like 5 to 10 minutes later, he'd forget. And then would move on to something else to complain about. He had like no clue of the powers of the presidency, or what his job was, or what he could do, or what what he could order people to do. He literally treated the presidency like he would the Trump organization. Like he was like CEO of America or something like that. And I understand that we're the United Corporations of America at this point, but that doesn't mean the president has the same powers that a CEO does. And he still hasn't figured it out. And by the way, what's also fun about this is that yesterday I talked about how Tucker Carlson is basically a source that goes and talks to the media, right? So he's like buddy with the, so-called elite liberal media, which I laugh every time I hear liberal media, right? But he's a source apparently for at least some of the stories like this. And it's also that he could later on rage about, oh my God, ridiculous liberals. I can't believe they're attacking and making these terrible things. Just saying. One of those things. All right. So let's go to some substance. That's enough fluff for today. Good to Nina Turner. It appears that corporate America is deathly afraid of soon-to-be Congresswoman Nina Turner, and they are pulling out all the stops to prevent her from winning her primary. Now, they are doing that by organizing gigantic fundraisers to fund her opponents and basically bury the race with money. Now, the Daily Poster is reporting that Washington lobbyists and business-friendly Democrats are hosting a Beltway fundraiser to try to block Nina Turner's victory in the August 3rd Democratic primary for Ohio's 11th congressional district. Now, Andrew Perez and Joel Warner write, quote, last week, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton endorsed Turner's opponent, Shontel Brown, and what observers saw was a response to Turner's association with Senator Bernie Sanders. On that same day, lobbyists and corporate-aligned Democratic House coalition hosted a fundraiser to boost Brown after a poll sponsored by Turner's campaign found her with a commanding 50-15 lead in the race. Punchbowl also reported an invite last week for a fundraising, posted an invite for a fundraising reception honoring Shontel Brown. Representative Pete Aguilar, California caucus vice chair of the corporate New Democrat coalition in the House, was listed as a special guest at the event. The coalition's PAC New Dem Action Fund was also listed as a host. The fundraising invite said the host committee in formation for the event was a PAC known as the Protecting Our Vote Federal PAC. Now, they say that they're a voting rights-oriented political action committee, and they also have an affiliated super PAC called Protecting Our Vote PAC that has made small independent expenditures supporting Shontel Brown. So, obviously, you can see the establishment connection here. According to its website, Protecting Our Vote is claiming to be building a state-of-the-art research, digital, and communications infrastructure, which, of course, people working there will be highly paid, in order to mobilize, persuade, and turn out every African American possible on the issues that impact their communities and affect their lives. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, isn't that a good goal? Don't you want more African Americans turning out in elections? Well, yes, absolutely I do. African Americans are the backbone of the Democratic Party, some of the most important voters in some of the most important places. Absolutely. So, but of course, being against it, you might ask, oh, well, why don't you want this PAC to help try to turn out African American voters? Well, the issue with this is who is funding this, who is supporting this, who the PAC is working for. So now, the Super PAC's treasurer, for example, is a man named Marcus Mason, who happens to be a corporate lobbyist and is listed as the host of this particular event. Mason's client includes Fox News parent company, Fox Corporation, private equity giant Carlyle Group, student loan servicer Navient, the National Alliance for Public Charter Schools, tech giant Google, and gig delivery company DoorDash. So, very problematic, all these corporate donors. But Fox Corp? Fox Corp. Not only that, but I also look at Navient, right? So, now Navient is a big problem. Navient's a gigantic student loan servicer. You know who would benefit most from the cancellation of student loan debt, as championed by people like Nina Turner? Well, Black people. The Black community often have to borrow more for higher education, as they tend to get preyed on a lot more by for-profit schools, for-profit colleges. They more often end up going into default, which can cause, of course, a myriad of disastrous consequences like destroying your credit, wage garnishment, and, of course, the debt, student loan debt, federal student loan debt especially, has no statute of limitations. So they will continue collecting on that money until it's paid off or you die. So now Shontel Brown and the establishment, they're not in favor of canceling student loans. They're not in favor of making public colleges tuition free and universities. And so much for wanting to benefit black voters in the issues that affect their communities. Shockingly, you're also going to find out that just about every other host named on this fundraising event is also a massive corporate lobbyist. Virgil Miller, for example, lobbies for oil and gas giant ExxonMobil. You also have telecom firms Comcast and AT&T, as well as pharmacy chain CVS Health, as well as DoorDash. Nicole Venable lobbies for Apple, Bayer, McDonald's, and Navient. She also represents the Business Roundtable, the lobbying group for corporate CEOs and surveillance software Palantir. Jerome Murray, lobbies for the American Investment Council, a trade group for the private equity industry. He also represents the powerful drug lobby, Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, or PhRMA, as well as drug makers Pfizer, Amgen, and AbbVie individually. Brandon Garrett lobbies for Walmart, American Airlines, FedEx, Nike, and the Managed Funds Association, a trade group for hedge funds. Dante Smalls is a lobbyist for UPS. So, yeah. There you go. This is who is backing fundraisers for Chantel Brown. She is the corporate candidate, 100%. All of these massive corporate lobbyists. And they desperately want to take down Nina Turner. Why? Because the policies that she supports would help regular people and not corporations. She would also, God forbid, vote to raise their taxes, given the opportunity, to make them pay their fair share. Obviously, it is America. We can't do that. So we've got to go and hold some swanky fundraisers and drop loads and loads of corporate cash onto her opponent, who, if she wins, will be indebted to the donors, because that's how it works. Whereas Nina Turner, she is funded primarily by the people. And so when she gets into office, she will be indebted to the people, to you, the voter. And that's why they want to stop her from winning, because she might actually, shocker, represent you. So, moving on. One more story for y'all. Just give me a moment. It appears that retail workers have finally had enough and are leaving their jobs in record numbers. Now, I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm saying that is a good thing, because I am absolutely here for it. Because following a pandemic, which closed the economy, kind of, and ended up killing 600,000 Americans, many of them in retail or fast food jobs, which were very dangerous, as they had to deal with anti-maskers, Trump supporters, rude customers, which really, I'm kind of being redundant here, because many of them had a lot of crossover, those groups. But the numbers here of people quitting their jobs from retail are amazing. In fact, some 649,000 retail workers have put in their notices in April, the industry's largest one-month exodus since the Labor Department began tracking data more than 20 years ago. And some 3.5 million people left the workforce since last year at this time. There were, of course, retirements, a mix of different things, of course. Retirements, the fact that, a lot of people wanted to stay home with their families, or they're still concerned about the pandemic. But many of those who had left those old jobs actually went to better jobs. So, and what this ends up resulting in is, at least for those industries that are most affected, again, restaurants, hospitality, fast food, things like that. This is what essentially ends up being like a general strike, like a mini general strike, a bit of a rebellion against the corporate class, if you will, which has been screwing over low-wage workers for decades. And I think this is fantastic. So now a lot of workers, despite being called back, being called essential, never got a permanent pay raise as a result. Yeah, there were some, minor benefits or things like that were temporary. Oh, we got a heroes bonus, which was quickly taken away. And they ended up, of course, having to deal with a lot of bullshit, no benefits, no health care, still low pay. The aforementioned Trump supporters, they either left the workforce or, again, found another better job. And in fact, according to the Washington Post, some are finding less stressful positions at insurance companies, marijuana dispensaries, banks, and local governments, where their customer service skills were rewarded with, and this is important, higher wages and better benefits. It turns out, and CNN just earlier today had a video where there was a guy who owns an ice cream company or an ice cream stand, whatever. And he's like, yeah, oh boy, I was paying $7.25 the minimum wage, and nobody wanted to work for me. It was weird. And then I raised the wage to $15 an hour, and suddenly everybody wanted to work for me. Oh, I couldn't imagine. Wow. Who would have known? Who would have known? You pay people better, and they'll come work for you. Now, other people, instead of going to different jobs, maybe they went to go back to school to learn new trades, or were waiting to secure reliable childcare. In fact, one person's 23-year-old Aislinn Potts of Tennessee, who left her $11 an hour job as a specialist at a pet chain in April to focus on writing. She said, quote, "It was a really dismal time, and it made me realize this isn't worth it. My life isn't worth a dead-end job. I'm here for it. Hell yes. I love it. There's more." In interviews with more than a dozen retail workers who recently left their jobs, nearly all of them said the pandemic introduced new strains and already challenging work. Longer hours, understaffed stores, unruly customers, and pay cuts. Christina Knowles spent much of her time working the closing shift at a dollar store, sometimes 9 consecutive days without a break, for $10 an hour. She felt isolated, anxious, and demoralized. Chris Oberlin, who sold electronics at a national chain store in San Antonio, took a $4 an hour pay cut during the pandemic before deciding to quit to do another job. He said to get paid to be getting paid $10 an hour in the middle of a nationwide crisis, it just left a sour taste. Now I'm doing more physical labor, but it's better pay and I'm having a lot more fun without the stresses of retail. It feels better mentally. Another person quit his job at a liquor store to become a firefighter. The 29-year-old who has a degree in geography and environmental studies took on retail work in March when most people were not hiring. As the pandemic wore on, he felt increasingly anxious about getting sick during shifts, sometimes double or triple masking. When he found in early May that he hadn't been informed when a close colleague tested positive for the virus, he quit on the spot. Quote, "I kept working because I had to pay bills, but it was never going to be a long-term job." So yeah, look, again, these people knew they were being underpaid, underappreciated, and it was very, very clear that these places didn't give a damn about their workers, about regular people. Add in the fact that, of course, the nation's 15 million retail workers have no reliable childcare, no reliable public transportation, and it really limits your options to go back to work or work for a place that, honestly, you work at a place that, with the level of how much it costs for childcare, and you work at a place that gives you $10 an hour. I mean, come on. That doesn't even cover your childcare. Why would you even work? What's the point? So these are just terrible jobs overall. And Rebecca Gevin, a professor of labor studies and employment relations at Rutgers, said it much better than me. Quote, "We're seeing a wider understanding that these were never good jobs and they were never livable jobs. In many cases, the pay is below a living wage and the hours are inconsistent and insufficient. If anything, the pandemic has made retail jobs even less sustainable than they already were." 100%. 100%. This is why you see all these places suddenly raising their wages, which they could have always done, but they didn't. Then you have the ridiculous offers of, oh, we're going to give you a one-time signing bonus. You can have free lunches, pizza parties, appetizers. Everybody sees right through it. It's absolutely pathetic. People, let me tell you what people want. People want to be treated well. They want to have stable, reliable hours, and they want to be paid fairly. And they want benefits too. I know, crazy, right? But labor experts agree. Retailers, they say, should be focusing on stable schedules, safe working conditions, benefits like paid sick leave and vacation time, and all of that. And it, again, as I mentioned, pay. During the pandemic, they said many employees were also forced to take on new responsibilities, often without proper protection or adequate healthcare coverage to protect them from illness. That's another issue here. We've got to have a national healthcare system, single-payer healthcare. We should not be counting on employers to provide that healthcare because they won't. They've refused to do that. And we should have learned that during this pandemic. Not only that, but also, though customers were mindful of safety restrictions early on, workers say that quickly faded, leaving them vulnerable to verbal and sometimes physical altercations over social distancing and mask requirements. These people are getting paid $7 to $10 an hour to deal with people punching them, kicking them, assaulting them, ripping off their masks when they don't have health care. That's not their job. That's not their job. They don't get paid enough for that shit. I remember hearing about, like, my wife being in the grocery store. She came home and she told me this story. And she watched one of these situations play out where a man was literally threatening employees because they asked him to wear a mask. It ended up getting violent and he got kicked out of the store. Now, afterwards, my wife went to the employees and said, hey, are you okay? Are you doing all right? You know, you're doing good work. That guy was an idiot. And, you know, she's a sweetheart. But it shows you, and that's just my anecdote, obviously, but I've also showed you videos. I've talked about poor tipping. I've talked about masculine harassment, where people would go in and decide, or they would tell people, take off your mask, or I'll go to your manager, or, take off your mask so I know how much to tip you. They put up with so much during the pandemic, and it's not over. Pandemic isn't over. There's still the Delta variant going around. Only 44% of Americans are vaccinated right now, so we're not even going to hit the goal. And now everybody's opening up. Everybody thinks that, oh, you can't wear a mask. You don't need to wear a mask anymore. And now you've got people shooting up stores and restaurants. No, of course it's not worth it. No job is worth that. And of course, the conservative Democrat and Republican answer to this is, well, that's okay. We'll just cut unemployment benefits. We'll just cut them off. So be forced to go back to these crap jobs. No, the whole point is you should pay people more. This isn't a labor shortage. It's the result of crushing workers into the dirt for so long that they're tired of it. And they just want to get paid more and actually want to get some respect for doing their jobs. And that's it. I hope that this changes our view of labor as a culture. Really. Because you can see now that workers are finally beginning to realize that they have a power, that they have a voice, and that they can shut down an economy if they want to, if they just refuse to go to work. And I hope that they realize that they have this power and that they can make a change. Don't count on a politician to make that change for you. You've got to press the issue by using your own power. And our workers and our labor is the biggest power that we have. Yes, you would think we would have gotten free healthcare for all during this pandemic. With so many losing their healthcare when they lost their jobs, lesson learned. True. Absolutely, as Scriven. That absolutely, 100%. You would think we would have learned, but we haven't. Oh no, now's not the time. No, we can't do that. Got to protect Obamacare. We all want an honest wage for an honest day's work. We are not PNs, proles, scum, or serfs. And yet they sure think that we are. All right. Anyway, that's what I got today for you all. Hopefully you all enjoyed the show. I really appreciate that. Yeah, you got to have respect for the workers. Absolutely. All right. So again, thank you all for joining me in the show. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Come back tomorrow where I will once again say inappropriate things at inappropriate times for no reason at all. Like tuna. I don't know where. I honestly have no idea where that came from. Maybe I haven't eaten today, and maybe that's why. I had a couple of donuts, but you know, I don't even like tuna. For some reason, I said that. I don't know why. Now I'm gonna have to go and ponder where the hell I came up with that, because it's ridiculous. So, anyway, the island of tuna, which, yeah, to be fair, Cuba tuna. I'm sure Cuba has. Can you? Are tuna near Cuba? Can you catch? I don't know. So now I'm gonna have to think about why I said that.
There's insanity in the control room.
It's true. There really is. I'm part cat now. I barely even eat fish. Honestly. Heathens who ignore me are dooming you all. God doesn't protect you. Okay, you're a weirdo. Fucking weirdos. Okay. God, I get some, I get some really weird trolls here. I don't even understand it. I really don't. It's the weirdest fucking thing. My God. Some people are just, they're like too online or something. I don't know what it is. Let me zap the weirdos. Crowder's got them all riled up. It's true. It's so true. It's so true. All right, everybody. I'm going to go edit my stuff. If you missed a Crowder segment, I'm going to put that up at 6. We do need a new moderator. I know. I got it. I'm going to figure things out. Okay, so don't worry. We'll get a new moderator in here. And we'll do that. All right. Love you all. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you later.
Mike Pence.
Dumps. Big, massive dumps.
I like my meat tight. Tighten up my meat.
Give me a break.
Oh, wow, I'm sorry. They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.